Hey guys, Dennis here. I wanted to do a quick review on these little mini hand planes that I got from Harbor Freight today. And I'm only doing this because I already cleaned up this one and tried it out, and it works surprisingly well, like a lot better than I expect most tools to work from Harbor Freight. In fact, I thought maybe this was just going to be a pattern for me to make my own little mini planes, but yeah, pretty serviceable little thing. So like I said, this one I already cleaned up and used it, and this is cool. This is I haven't seen this before. It's a scraper plane. So you can see it's a very steep, almost like, I don't know if steep's the right word, almost 90-degree angle, and it works almost like a card scraper. And then there's a chisel plane, which I probably don't have much use for, and then just a regular kind of little mini like block plane, or I guess not a block plane because of the angle. This is a bevel up plane, so although this angle here is fixed, you can kind of tweak the angle of attack by changing the bevel of this blade, which it is kind of a cheap metal. It files down, well, it sands down really easy, so I think it's a little bit soft, so probably will need to be touched up quite a bit as you're using it, but these are really light duty anyway. Light duty, but they are pretty heavy because of so much brass. Yeah, a lot of brass, but I think they're probably just glued together too. I wouldn't be surprised if this just falls apart one day and I'll have to put some pins and epoxy or something. In fact, maybe this cross pin's the only thing holding it together. Who knows? But yeah, so I'm going to clean this one up a little bit. Let me show you the irons are painted, which is actually good because it helps you kind of as a guide as you're sanding these flat to know when you're there. The bodies, the first thing I noticed is they're not comfortable at all, so you do need to kind of break all these edges. The corners are very sharp and they're just not fun to use. The entire thing is coated in this like lacquer, so the shoe or whatever it's called, the bottom part has to be flattened, and then I put on a furniture wax on the other one, which worked really well for the bottom part. So let me just go ahead and break all the edges here first. Alright, now to flatten the bottom, I'm just kind of working my way up from 120 to 400 grit. Alright, I need two hands to do this. Hold on. And here's what about 10 seconds of sanding at 120 grit looks like. So it's fairly flat. It's not too bad. You can see that part there is a low spot, which is we'll work that out. So I'll get this so that it's all, the sandpaper's hit every part of it, and you see the low spot back here. So we'll get this all flat, and then I'll work up to 400 grit. And for the iron, you can see it's not completely flat on the back, so that's what we're going to work on, is making sure that this back part is flat. And I'm starting at 220 grit for this. You can see it for this metal, it seems to sand pretty well with regular sandpaper, which makes me think this is not tool steel, but it does cut wood, but not as hard. Obviously not as hard as some of the other irons from like my old like Stanley plane. But you know, this is light duty. This is for light duty stuff. So I'm gonna get this spot right here. You can see like the paint is actually nice, kind of helps me see where the low spots are. So I'll work this out and then polish it up to 400. I'm gonna finish it with some fine little diamond plate things, but I'll show you that in 1 second here. Alright, and here's my little diamond plate. DMT makes these little sharpening cards, which are really nice. And so this is where I'll actually sharpen the iron. For this bevel, I'm just going to hand sharpen it like I do with my Scandi grind knives. I've gotten quite used to holding a bevel by hand, sharpening a Scandinavian grind, which is the same as this but on both sides. And I don't know that there's a much easier way with this very small iron. And again, I can use the paint kind of as a guide there. But I'm going to do this two-handed because I'm just showing you on camera here. And then finally, I've got some furniture polish here, some hard finish wax that I'm just going to, just like this one, I just rubbed a little bit on the bottom and polished it off so it's nice and smooth and will slide on the wood. As you can see, there was a little bit of a defect in the bevel of the cutter, so I had to get that out. Did end up a little bit convex here, but that shouldn't matter. And you might even be able to see the burr that I've got on there now. So we'll just clean that up by polishing the back here. Okay, I don't feel a burr anymore. Let's see. Yeah. Feels pretty sharp. So let's put this thing back together and see how it works. And almost forgot to put on the wax. Well, I did forget to put on the wax. And then I felt the bottom and realized it was still a little bit rough. That raw wood. So this will make it glide a lot better on the workpiece. Alright, so let me polish this up. I'll try it. And the reason I got these was basically to help me with spoon carving. The final finishing passes, I still can't quite get really long, even cuts with a knife. And so I thought these little planes would be great for just kind of smoothing the last little bits off, taking off some corners of the spoon. You can see it's doing pretty well. It's making some decent shavings. I actually prefer, surprisingly, I didn't think I'd have any use for this. I didn't even know what this was at first, but now I know it's a, like I said, it's a scraping plane. This is really great. So I take this and just kind of it makes some really nice, fine shavings, and it leaves a really nice cut behind. It's a really nice knife edge, just shiny, polished cut in the wood, and it's very smooth. So I'm really happy with how this works, and I'm definitely going to be using this in part of the final steps of finishing my spoons. So like I said, it also came with this chisel plane here, and I haven't cleaned this one up yet or sharpened it or anything. I'm not quite sure if I have a use for this. You can see the plane. It's a little bit different on this one. This one has, the plane is much thinner at the top. It's a different design. This might be good for, yeah, you know what this would be good for probably is like cleaning up glue squeeze out. That would probably be a good use for this little thing if I can put it back together here. So yeah, I'll work on cleaning this up and polishing it and sharpening it another day, but yeah, that's not great. It's kind of, that's weird. Anyway, this one, definitely a winner. Gonna keep this nearby. I'm going to work on this one a little bit more. I put a bit of a micro bevel to give it a little bit of a steeper angle, and I think that helped a little bit. The biggest thing is when I get to the finishing stages of spoons, and again, this is just like a blank that I made. This is not a good piece of spoon wood. I made this for my kids to play with, so. But just as an example, when I get to the finishing stages, when I want to just take really small cuts, even with my knife, I was getting some tear out, and so I thought having a plane might be good to kind of just take that final, just very slight shavings, just to get the final shape and finish to the spoon. And like here's one I'm working on that's. These compound curves are going to be hard. That's another thing I thought of, is maybe cutting these down shorter because they're a bit long for the kind of work I need them to do. The scraper, it's a little bit tricky because it's got this adjustment screw in the back to help set the angle, but I might be able to do something about this. I could certainly trim the front a little bit, maybe not with the way this is. I don't know. But works pretty well, this size. Like I said, 12 bucks, Harbor Freight. So if you were looking at these, I hope now you know what you're getting into. And not too bad. For a little bit of work, an effort, they're pretty serviceable. A word to my current subscribers. I'm not always going to do videos like this going forward. Just wanted to kind of put this one out. And I do want to do more of these short little videos when I have something interesting to share. But I am working on some other ones. I've got 2 that are being edited right now and some bigger projects. And I will be working on the sawmill at some point. I don't know when, but I do plan on working on revision 2 of that. So I do have some leather working stuff that I want to put out pretty soon. This is a little project I'm going to be working on for a portable sharpener thing. You'll see when I make it. But anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys thought. And if you have any other experience with these, please share that down below. Tips for sharpening these irons, adjusting, anything I missed, let me know. Appreciate all your comments, guys. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.